Welcome back. We're going to do another example. This will be example number 4 on how to find the center, vertices, foci, and eccentricity of an ellipse and then sketch the graph. All right. The first thing is, once again, we are given a general conic section equation, so we want to write it into a standard form of an ellipse. And you can see up here, as one of the examples, we have these two different standard forms. All right, one that's horizontal, one that's vertical. Now, in any case, we need to have something that's squared. Okay, so we need to complete the perfect square because we do not have the perfect square right now. So the first thing we want to do is we want to group all together all the x values and then group together all the y values. Okay, so first off, we're going to take, and we have x squared minus 8x, and then we're going to have 5y squared minus 30y, and then this little constant just sitting right there, we're going to kick him to the curb, bring him to the other side because we don't need you right now. I know he feels unwanted, but that's just the way he's going to be. Now, from here, we have our values, and now what we're going to do is we're going to complete the square. When we group our x's together, the next thing we want to do is make sure that we have a power of 1, a coefficient of 1 next to x squared. We do. So what we're going to do next is now we have to have find our c value. All right, so we need a coefficient of 1. Okay, and what we're doing again is we're completing the square. Complete the square. Fun times. Now from here we're going to find our c value. Once again, the c value is where we take our b value, we divide it by 2, and then we square it. That's how we get it. Now our b value that we're referring to is not the minor axis b value, but it is referring to the quadratic b value. So it's that number right there, which is -8. So we're going to take -8. All right, we're going to square it, or sorry, divide by 2, so we have -4, and we're going to square it, and then what we have is 16. So we're going to add the 16 right there. Now remember, whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other, so we're going to add 16 to this other side. Okay. From there, we're going to find our next value, okay, our next c value. The c value is going to be right here. Now to do that, we have to once again make sure that we have a coefficient of 1. Coefficient of 1. We do not. So what we have to do is we have to factor out this 5 out of these first two terms. So that's what we're going to do, and I'm going to just simplify this right away. We have x minus 4 then squared. This right here, we're going to factor out a 5. When we factor out 5, we're going to have y squared minus 6y. And then we have that equals, we add those together is 40, we got 40, 55. All right, and we have that right there. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to now find the c value. To find the c value, we're going to take the b value, divide by 2, and square it. Once again, the b value we're referring to is at 6. So what we have is, pause it. All right, and then what we're going to do is find the c value. So we're going to do the same thing, take -6 divided by 2 and square it. So we can see that c is going to equal -3 squared is 9, so we're going to add 9. Now, this is where we have to be careful. We're not just going to, whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other. However, remember we factored out a 5. So if we factor this back in, we have 5y squared. We would have -30y, and then we would also have 45. So we're going to add not 9, but we're going to add 45. Why, you may be asking again? Because we have to take 5 times 9, coming from way over here again. Okay? All right. Well, with this, we're now going to finish up, and we're going to simplify this. All right. And what we have then is going to be x minus 4, that quantity squared, plus we have this 5. Let's complete the square now. So it'll be y minus 3 squared, and that equals 100. All right. So now we have this. To finish our equation for ellipse, so we can find all the information we want, we're now going to make sure that this equals 1. All right. We need that to equal 1. So we're going to divide everything by 100, both sides by 100. We'll multiply this whole thing by 1 over 100. This side will then equal 1. We then have x minus 4 squared over 100, plus, now we have 5 over y minus 3 squared over 100, which this can be simplified to, as we know, all right, 520. So we have y minus 3 squared over 20, and now we're ready to move on forward. All right. So from here, let us find all of our other values. So now we're going to find what is going to be the center. We're going to find the major axis, the vertices, and then the focus. All right, and then finally the eccentricity. So the first thing we want to find is the center. Well, looking at this, the center is pretty easy to see. It's going to be at 4, 3. So we're going to graph that out. Take this. Looking at this, we saw it's 4, 3. So we can move it over to the, all right, right 1, 2, 3, 4, up 3, 1, 2, 3. And there's our center. From here, we can now find our major axis. So we're going to find our major axis. Major axis, once again, is the largest of the values. All right, and because the largest value is 100, we know this right here is going to be a horizontal. All right, because the A value, the largest, all right, largest denominator is under the X value, or X variable. Or X expression, I should say. Expression. It's better. Expression. All right. So we have this as A, and so we can draw our major axis. Okay. And now from here, we can find our A value. And our A value is going to equal, and that will help us find the vertices. Because the vertices, if you remember, the distance we want is A. Okay, because A is from the center to the vertices, that's what we're looking for. So vertice 1 is going to be, well, A, once again, is A squared equals 100, and then for A equals 10. So vertice 1 is going to be 10 units away from the center. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's going to be way over here. And so if we take that, we know we're adding 10 to our X value. So it'll be 14, 3. Vertice 2 is going to be 10 units away from the center to the left. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's going to be right there. That's vertice 2. If we take 4 and subtract that, we should have negative 6, 3. That's going to be vertice 2. And just make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, negative 6, 3. And there we have it. So those are our two vertices. The next thing we want to do is we can use our B value and help us figure out our minor axis. Okay, so we can finish this graph. The minor axis, all right, I'll put that over here, keep it in a row. All right, the minor axis is B units away from the center. So I'm going to use the B units away from the center. Well, if you look at our equation, our B is B squared equals 20. So B has to equal the square root of 20, which is 2 squared to 5. 2 squared to 5, which is roughly about 4.5-ish. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to find where these minor values are. We're going to go up. So from our center, we're moving up, all right, 3 plus the square root of 20. And then we're going to be moving down 3 minus the square root of 20. All right, and our 1x values are going to stay the same. So it'll be both in the center, 4 and 4. So those are our B values. So right here, we can go and add about 4.5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 4.5 right here. All right, and then we're going to go up about 4.5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about right there. And if you want to, you can finish our sketch. I'm not very good at doing this. That's a horrible ellipse, but well, you get the picture. Now the final thing we want to find here is we want to find our foci. Okay, foci, recall, are C units away. The C is a very important value. Well, in our equation, all right, we don't have any C value. It's just A squared, and then we have B squared. So we have to use this other equation. C squared equals A squared minus B squared. So C squared is going to equal 100 minus 20. C squared then has to equal 80. And therefore, C has to equal the square root of 80. Now, once again, the foci are on the major axes. So that means we're going to have two different foci. One, which is going to be square root of 80 units to the right. C units to the right. And then, all right, square root of 80 units to the left. Okay? So, with that, what we're going to do is define this foci 1 and foci 2. We're going to take and we're moving it, we're going to be adding to our center, all right, which is 4, 3. We're adding square root of 80. So we're going to have 4 plus the square root of 80, 3. And then we're going to have 4 minus the square root of 80, 3. Now the square root of 80 is pretty close to 81, which would be 9. So it'd probably be about 8.9 something. So we'll add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. All right, and just a little bit less. So 8.9, so probably about right there. So that's foci 1. And then we have over here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, just a little bit less. Right there, there's foci 2. All right, and that's our ellipse. And obviously you can see that I have to make it a little bit nicer here. All right, probably, but yeah, that's all to say about that. And then finally, we can find our eccentricity. Eccentricity is C over A. It's a ratio to figure out how oval it is. And our C value, since that is going to be square root of 80, we're going to have the square root of 80 over A, and A value is going to equal 10. All right, and if you recall, that's approximately about 8.9 over 10, which is pretty close, all right, pretty close to 1. So that's why you can see why it's so oval shaped. Okay. All right. And so with that, we have fulfilled everything we need to do. We used our equation, all right, right here. Let me get rid of that. All right, used our equation that we generated by using the complete and the square to find the center. We found the major axis by looking at what is the largest value, which we saw 100 is larger, so it's over the horizontal. We then found the vertices by finding the A value. We then graphed the minor axis by looking at the B value, or finding that. And then finally, using this equation right here, we found the foci, all right, and then graphed it out and finished the graph along with finding the eccentricity. So a lot of things involve this problem. It's a big, long process. It's always nice when they give you the actual equation, but sometimes it's not as easy, all right? But still doable. So I hope this helps you out. This is example number 4 of finding the ellipse and center and whatnot. And hope this helps you, and God bless in the rest of your problems.